You know, some animals just get a really bad rap. Their names, sometimes born from simple misunderstandings, can paint a picture that's just not true. Today, we're going to dive into one of the most famously mislabeled creatures on the planet, the Tasmanian Devil. It's a pretty intense name, right? Especially for an animal that's about the size of a small dog. So what's the deal? How did this stocky little marsupial get stuck with such a formidable title? Well, it wasn't just one thing, but a whole bunch of behaviors that really startled the first Europeans who encountered them. Imagine you're one of those settlers. You're in a new land, and at night, you start hearing these completely unearthly sounds coming from the darkness. You go to investigate, and you find this creature acting in ways you've never seen before. And yeah, the name devil, it's stuck. But those behaviors tell a much, much different story than you'd expect.
All right, so let's really get into it. What exactly was on this rap sheet that created the whole devilish reputation? Let's take a look at the evidence that built the legend.
Okay, so here are the top 4 culprits. First, an incredibly loud, kind of disturbing screech. Then, there's a pretty strong odor they give off when they're stressed. You've also got what looks like total chaos when they eat together. And of course, the big one, that famous wide-mouthed gape. It sounds pretty intense, I know, but as we're about to find out, every single one of these traits serves a very specific and pretty surprising purpose. Now, before we decode what all those behaviors mean, we've got to look at the hardware this animal is working with. These features aren't random at all. They're basically a masterclass in survival, perfectly designed for its home. Let's start with its most powerful tool, that bite. It is ridiculously strong. We're talking one of the strongest bites, pound for pound, of any meat-eating land mammal out there. But it's not really for hunting. It's essential for its main job as a scavenger. That bite lets it crush and eat an entire carcass, bones, fur, the whole shebang. And check this out. Its tail is basically a built-in pantry. Seriously, it's not just for balance. A healthy, well-fed devil stores all its extra fat right there. So a nice plump tail is a fantastic sign that the animal is doing great and has plenty of energy saved up for when food gets scarce. Now, being a marsupial, the female has a pouch, right? But here's the cool part. It opens backwards. And at first, that might sound kind of weird, but for an animal that spends a lot of time digging burrows, it is an absolutely brilliant design. It keeps the pouch and the tiny babies inside totally clean and free of dirt. So what about their overall size? Well, like with a lot of animals, there's a clear difference. The males are generally bigger and stockier, weighing around 8 kilos, while the females are a bit smaller, averaging around 6 kilos. And that difference definitely plays a part in how they all get along. With that bone-crushing bite and solid build, you'd probably think they're just aggressive predators. But the truth is, their most important job in the entire ecosystem is something else. They are, without a doubt, nature's most efficient cleanup crew. And when I say cleanup crew, I mean they are not picky eaters, not at all. They're total opportunists. While their main food source is carrion, like dead wombats or wallabies, their menu is huge. They'll eat almost anything they can find, from small mammals and birds to insects, frogs, and even sea squirts they find along the coast. Their thoroughness is what makes them so vital. When a devil is done with a carcass, there is nothing left behind. This is so important because it keeps the environment clean, stops diseases from spreading, and gets rid of pests. It's actually a huge help to local farmers. And get this, if the opportunity is there, a Tasmanian devil can eat up to 40% of its own body weight in a single 30-minute sitting. Can you even imagine that? It's just an amazing testament to how incredibly efficient they are at their job. Okay, so now we know what they're built like and what they eat. Let's circle back to those devilish behaviors we talked about at the beginning. It's time to decode what's really going on behind all the screeches and scuffles. First up, that big, scary-looking gape. When you see it, your first thought is aggression, right? Well, more often than not, it's actually the opposite. That wide-open yawn is usually a sign of fear, stress, or just plain uncertainty. It's less, I'm coming to get you, and more, I'm feeling a little overwhelmed right now. And what about all those blood-curdling noises? It's not just random sound. It's a language, a really complex one. That high-pitched screech is a huge part of their communal feeding rituals. They use coughs and snarls to communicate with each other, and a sharp sneeze, that's often a way of challenging another devil, kind of sizing them up before a fight. Which brings us right to those so-called vicious feeding sessions. It looks like total chaos, but it's actually a very structured social event. All that noise and posturing is just their way of establishing a pecking order, of figuring out who's the boss and gets to eat first, all while trying to avoid a real damaging fight. It's a system of bluff and communication, not just pure aggression. So, we've pretty much decoded the adult devil, but to really understand this animal, we have to go back to the very beginning. And let me tell you, the first year of a devil's life is one of the most dramatic survival stories in the entire animal kingdom. A mother devil gives birth to a surprisingly big litter. We're talking up to 50 live babies at once. But here's the thing. Each little newborn, or joey, is only about the size of a single grain of rice. Their epic journey has literally just begun. So, right after they're born, these tiny joeys have to make a perilous crawl to their mother's pouch. And once they get there, a harsh reality is waiting. The mother only has 4 teats. It becomes an immediate race for survival, and only the first 4 to latch on are going to make it. The 4 survivors will stay tucked away in that backwards-facing pouch for about 4 months. After that, they move into a den where their mom continues to care for them. And then, at around 10 months old, they're finally weaned and ready to head out into the big, wide world on their own. And here's one last cool little fact that might surprise you. Unlike their stocky, ground-based parents, young Tasmanian devils are fantastic climbers. It's a skill that helps them escape danger and explore their surroundings, but it's something they slowly lose as they get older, heavier, and develop that powerful adult build. So when you look past the scary name and all the noise, what do you see? An animal with a bite that can crush bone, but uses it to be a crucial sanitation engineer. A creature whose threatening behaviors are really just a complex language to help it survive. So is it a monster or a masterpiece? I think the evidence really speaks for itself.